Enter the crib. Your strike back sit rep starts in 3, 2, 1. Wait, do we go on 0?
All right, guys, we are back. Another sit rep here to talk about episode 5 of Warrior. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Deb.
And not only do we have an amazing interview for you today, we promised you guys interviews. We are packed full for the rest of the season, plus all kinds of exciting guests. We're super excited. Starting with Kieran last week, Joe Taslim tonight. Woo-hoo! Yeah, that's right. Hottie McHottie Pants, who was just absolutely as kind and charming as you could possibly hope for. With the single drawback being, it is significantly harder to objectify someone when you've had a conversation with them. So, you know, I can handle
that.
that.
We've objectified him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure calling him Hottie McHottie Pants is like somewhat objectifying, but
yeah,
he was lovely.
But it's also accurate.
So accurate, and just as beautiful in person. Just such a nice guy, so funny, and just with like the perfect dose of dorky that like makes you feel much more comfortable. So that was a great interview. You guys will hear from him. And I think he's even going to come back after the end of the season. So to talk about the rest of the season. But tonight, oh my God, the fucking episode 5 was amazing.
Wow.
So, yes. So, yeah.
I'm just going to sit back and let you talk about your favorite moment for a few minutes, because I think it's also, you know, the opening of the show. So I'm thinking you might have some things to say about that first scene.
Let's just say, like, if there's any show that opens like a beautiful man doing very slow martial arts and all of his muscles are glistening from being sprayed with water or something, it's not a bad way to kick off the show. I mean, it really sets a good mood. At least it sets my mood good. So, you know. Yeah, so no, I mean it wasn't a bad kickoff to this.
No, and it was, you know, it was a pretty amazing scene between Leong and Mai Ling too.
That was actually my emotional moment for the night.
Ah.
Because of Mei Ling's, when he asks her about, you know, he's your family, don't you think you can forgive you? And when she says, I wouldn't, I haven't, and she's got that beautiful single tear. Oh, just that to me, so we're gonna flip the script tonight and talk emotional moment first because you brought it up. So yeah, that was my emotional moment of the night, just because the two of them have been building to this. It's so new for this season. I just thought that was such a beautiful moment of she regrets what happened, but also doesn't regret what happens, but regretted it because it was awesome, but like also felt like it was the right thing to do for the Long Z. I don't know. Yeah, that was beautifully played by Diane Doan. Just phenomenal.
Yeah. And the scene itself was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
The way it was set up, you know, with that post in the middle and how they, you know, Leong would take a couple steps forward and she'd take a couple steps back. It was like they were fencing, you know, parrying back and forth. And there was so much just in the body language of what was going on in that scene. That was just, I mean, Leong, yeah, he's pumped up from working out, but he just gets more and more coiled throughout that whole scene.
Yeah.
And then in the end, when she's just like, no, I can't. And, you know, he's just kind of devastated.
Yeah.
The whole thing, you know.
It's a lot.
It's just a beautifully shot scene.
It is.
On every level. Just beautiful.
Yeah. So what was your emotional moment of the night then?
Yeah, of the 10 I wrote down. I don't know. Well, I will say the moment that really made my skin crawl was the mayor with Penny.
Yeah, such a gross scene. He was so smug about his wife's utter devastation.
He just loved twisting that knife. and getting right in her face. Oh, it's going to be so nice to have you back.
Gross.
Just made my skin crawl. And there were a lot. Penny realizing that she'd been betrayed, really been lied to by Assam was pretty awful. But there were a lot of icky things and awful things that happened tonight. But there was one really nice thing that just made me feel really like a big smile on my face. And that was the kiss.
Davenport and Atoy. Oh,
yes,
so
unexpected. And it was just so nice to see Atoy have some real human connection. Oh, because she's so guarded and she's, just, that was just sweet.
Yeah, that was lovely. I love them together.
Yeah.
And, I think back, I was so suspicious of Davenport until you clarified that she's based on a real person. And I understand that there are some issues with the actual foundation and erasing culture, but at least this character is so genuinely good. And a toy to have someone care for her like that.
As just of the person that she is, accepting her for everything she knows about her. And
just lovely.
Just so nice.
And, there's nothing wrong with two beautiful women kissing either, so. Just saying. I mean, it's cinematic.
It was just a beautiful scene.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
It was just that, I'm so happy for her. And, I'm not a shipper. So if I'm happy for a little ship going on there, it's good.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, that was great. Okay, so let's talk about fight of the night. I mean, it's clear. There's you cannot even argue that there's any other option other than the fight, which, God, what a cool fight to watch.
Was amazing.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, how many amazing fights does this show have up its sleeve? Because that was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we got to talk to Joe about filming that scene.
Yeah, and breaking it down. And yes, that was great. I mean, there's so many moves that are just like really cool on their own, and so many little things that, like, we talked about, like when he adjusted his button and this like, he like kind of rolls his shoulders and adjusts his button, and you're like, oh, he's about to kick his ass. Like he means business now. Oh, I just love that so much. I mean, he's just beautiful to watch. But that, I mean, and like that backflip, like rolling, like end up on. I don't know how they do these things. I don't understand how bodies move like that. I mean, I also fall down the stairs on a regular basis, so bodily, like,
it's true, she really does.
Yeah. Bodily control is like flabbergasting to me, in general. But God, I mean, just gorgeous.
It was amazing. And it was so, I mean, there was humor in it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fight to the death. Yeah. But there was humor in it, when Leong's just like, be grateful for your pain. I mean, he was just waiting for the moment to be able to use that line, because he was so, it's just been haunting him because he keeps hearing it.
Well, and even in the beginning, when Zing's like, I've always wanted to see how we, like who would win, or he's like, I've never wondered. Of course he hasn't. He's Leong. He's like, I know I could beat anybody. I don't have to worry about who would win. But and then like the creepy, oh my God, Zing on the floor when he's like, you're making me angry. I was like, oh, that is like such a here's Johnny moment. Like it felt like that to me felt so, I'm like, that Zing. That is psycho fucking path right there. Yep. Oh, it just that line made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up and like my skin crawl, and it was, that was scary. That was really scary. And we get to talk to Dustin, so I'm really excited because I'm going to be like,
I can't wait to talk to him about this. Yeah, I wrote that line down just because it was so, after it happens, you're like, of course he would say that. But when he first says it, it's just like, ew. Yeah. So creepy and so funny.
Yeah. Mostly creepy. Like super creepy. But after the fact, you're like, ha, No, but mostly creepy.
A perfectly delivered line.
Yeah.
But the great thing about there's this, huge personal fight going on between these two, masters upstairs. And meanwhile,
Yeah, you got the police.
the cops
slugging it
come
out
in and start
downstairs.
kicking some ass too, which, you have to keep reminding yourself because the cops are kind of written as characters that maybe are not going to really be able to stand up to this stuff, but they always do. And, most of the guys playing the cops are action people.
Yeah.
So, they are people with action backgrounds. So it's not like these guys don't know how to fight too. So it was just kind of fun to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the advantage of guns, which certainly leveled the playing
Yes, they
field.
did.
But
And some fun moments with the guns, like Hong when he or not Hong. I'm just like now Chow when he like whips out the second one and he shoots.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Lee when he does a little rifle spinny thing to like reload.
that was
pretty cool.
down. Like,
nice
Lee's
move,
got some
you know. And of course, Big Bill just comes in like with hammer fists, like swing and shoot, you know, like very cool. Well then the upstairs, the flashback between that, which is very like low down, dirty, brutal, and then upstairs, which is brutal but like also really beautiful to watch, which was really cool. I mean, the swinging from like the banister, you know, and I think you brought up in an interview it was very like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee.
Yeah, there were a couple moments in there that were like, oh, that was right out of a Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
When they were sort of trying to figure out each other's styles and figure out what was going on. Yeah, that was kind
of make like the big funny faces, like yeah.
I do have to say, probably and maybe this is emotional. I don't know if it's what the fuck, but the humiliation of Chow in this episode was so painful. So painful.
When they were pouring that milk?
Mare's milk.
But I guess.
Horse milk.
Yeah. Oh, that was
it
brutal.
Was,
It was this episode was really hard to watch for that. I think we were both like freaking out. Like, stop fucking with Chow, especially because he's always so perfectly put together that any disruption is that seems more visceral, I think. Yeah, and then this to take it that far felt devastating.
Yeah. And he came so close to just getting away with it.
Yeah.
And then the men were discovered.
Yeah.
That was
Man, so good. Yeah. So that was that's a good what the fuck. I didn't really have one except maybe Assam at the end with like he just keeps digging his hole deeper is what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know? Young June is pissed. They can't retaliate because otherwise Father June finds out. Then he tries to go back. Nope, they're not going to sell more to you. And now I guess he's going to fight. But yeah, he just keeps digging himself. And it just feels... Yeah, it just feels like a what the fuck Assam. Not like a what the fuck, I can't believe that happened. But just like a, dude, what the fuck? Like you just... That shovel. Just that deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah, he's got to rein it in.
Yeah.
He's he's starting to have too many irons, too many things, too many fires. He's getting very Bill-like. He's got to rein it in and get back to the plan. But, again, it's that they all think they have control.
Yes.
And there's, everyone's game is impacting the other game in, small ways or major ways. And no one person can control it all.
Yeah.
So they're all having trouble keeping track of their lies and their plans. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting because
although not Hong totally understands the plan. That was hilarious when he walks over and they're like, you don't get it, and he's like, maybe not, but here's what I think. Boil it all down, easy peasy. I was like, oh my god.
Either way, there's going to be some major fuckery coming up. Yeah. You guys are my best American friends.
I just love his character so much. He's so weird and delightful. beautiful. Yeah.
He is. And he's just, like, I'm just going to go with the flow and live in the minute and whatever,
Yeah. Except, like,
And
he
yet,
seems super dumb, but obviously
he's
fucking
not.
like a hawk because he
Right.
picked up all of everything that was happening.
Yeah.
He just says it with a grin because he's just, like, a really smart surfer psychopath. Maybe he invents surfing next season. that's why surfers are what they are. I'm gonna call that canon. Yeah. Oh man, we did not see. Did we see Buckley this episode at all?
Did we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
So that's still hanging out there.
Yeah. And Sophie, we didn't see Sophie. We saw Leary when the sergeant went, and they have no proof. They know who did it.
Right.
And basically, like, if you keep doing this, there'll be consequences, which I'm like, if you keep doing it, why is it if you keep doing it? Like, but no Sophie. So we didn't get any more there. At least that I remember. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. No.
So, yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah. And what's up with, Mylene? Mylene had a lot this episode.
Yeah, because she went to talk to Assam.
Yeah, but that line that she used with Leong when they were after the big fight, and she finds Leong sort of patching himself up, and they're having a conversation, and he's trying
conversation.
Conversation. And she's angry because he went behind her back and set this whole thing in motion to basically take down the Feng Hai. So she's mad, and he's trying, it's like, you're not getting the big picture. You need to see beyond your own need for power. And that line when she's like, and you're not listening to me, when he says you're not listening to me, and she's like, well, you needed to speak more loudly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty narcissistic.
Yeah, right. Speak louder or whatever. I was like, really? Yeah. Okay.
Really
he has been telling you this thing. You ignoring him. What did you want to do? Like, yell at you? Shake you? Because I'm pretty sure if he, like, shook you, you would, like, be like, okay, there's a knife in the neck or something,
No matter what, it's still your fault, Leong. You didn't tell me hard enough. I'm like, no, that's really dysfunctional.
I love the way that Joe talks about their relationship, though. But he's like, he's following the love of his life, and it's all beautiful, and, like, the wind beneath her wings. Or then he's like, but maybe he needs to break her wing, and I'm like, whoa, okay. But in general, up until that point, it's just, like, so cute the way he talks about their relationship, which is interesting because we're like, that's a very Leong way to look at it. I'm not sure Mylene always sees it that way, at least that we see, but I guess that's like villains saying that their characters aren't creepy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So some disagreement going on, like, between Bill and Lee, because Bill's wrapped this whole thing up in a nice, pretty little bow, and Lee's not quite believing it.
Every instinct in his body is saying this is wrong.
This was too easy.
Him just drinking outside, like, because he's been the one that's like, you have to be sober on the job, do your job, whatever. Seeing him, not only is he drinking on the job, but he's drinking before they go into this very dangerous situation.
Right.
And he's just like, when Bill looks back at him.
And he's not even trying to hide it.
No, Bill looks back at him.
That was like a total screw you, Bill.
Oh, yeah. So blasé about it. And I'm like, oh, baby, please. Sweet, innocent Lee, come on.
Well, and the whole argument in front of the locker that, when he's like, you did this, Bill.
Yeah.
All of this is on you. And Bill's just barreling ahead with his plan.
He's like, when he's like, did you tell them why they came to your house? No, of course not. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
whole lot of doors opened up in this episode.
Yeah.
And it looks like maybe one door closed between Assam and Mei Ling.
Ooh.
That was pretty clear.
Yeah.
We're done. We're so done. I'm going to destroy the Longxi and everything you care about and let you watch it burn. I'm like, what?
Yeah. He's not the forgiving type, Assam. No. And boy, Koji, very menacing. Not in person. We did get to interview him, guys, and you'll get to hear him at the end of the season. Super nice. Very menacing in this episode when he's saying that to her. I was like, oh, I believe that. You hate her with every ounce of your, which is such a sad thing because that kind of hate, only comes because there was once something else.
Right.
If you hate like Buckley, which is just like this like cold like distaste, this cruelty, this malice, it's not. But Assam's is like this fiery, passionate hate, and it's sad because it obviously is because he once loved her.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's hope.
Wow.
I don't know. Your face is like, yeah, Kelsey. That's about as good as like when you were like, there's hope for Bill, and Kieran was like, no. Time for a change in expectations.
Yeah, I don't know. I think awesome. I mean, I was certainly not expecting Mei Ling to lay it all out there and kind of almost beg him. And part of me is still thinking, I don't know how genuine this really is.
It seemed genuine.
But yeah, it did seem genuine.
Like we'll maybe see. She really did listen to Lee Young and listen to us. See, I told you we couldn't objectify him anymore. We've called him by his name and not Hottie McGotty Pants this whole time. God damn it. The sacrifices we make for this job. I'm just kidding. It was fine. Anyways, maybe he did get through to her. I don't know.
Yeah, and look what happened.
I know. Which does it I almost like feel like she's gonna double down now.
Exactly. That's what I'm worried about. Looking to the future. How is she gonna interpret?
Yeah.
She thinks all this is his fault anyway, and then she takes his advice and gets, clobbered in the head with it. So I think, I don't know. Don't you hurt him.
So lots of questions, lots of angst.
Yeah.
With some like kicky, punchy, angst, kicky, punchy, basically. I don't know. My brain is gone.
Thank you for choreographing my angst.
You should hire me. You should hire me as the battle, as a fight coordinator for season 3. Okay, so Joe, you're gonna like kicky, punchy, angst face, kicky, punchy. Done.
Roll.
Brilliant. You can tell why I'm a critic. Anyways, so episode 5 up next, Joe Taslim. Next week, episode 6, we are talking to Dustin about directing what is a phenomenal episode. I know we keep saying this. This show is like so great, somehow keeps getting better. Yeah, we've got some great interviews coming for you guys. So
episode 6, y'all are gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's another sort of standalone episode like the Blood and the Shit was last year. And
his name.
That was the name of it.
I know. I love.
By the way,
names.
love. Do you think the actors when they see their lines and then find out what the title for the episode is? It must be kind of fun when they realize they just delivered
that they delivered the title episode. Yeah, the title of the episode.
Title for this, not for a drink, a fuck, or a goddamn prayer. Oh, such a great line.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, stick around for Joe.
We're not at Xville. Stay with us at the crib.
If you guys have been listening, you knew that there was one guest, probably most guaranteed to make me turn red, faint, and fall out of my chair, and that is our guest tonight. We are very excited. From Warrior playing Lee Young, Joe Taslim, thank you so much for coming on.
Hello, guys. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you. We are obviously we're fans. Um, we are pumped, and this season we are so excited because we're seeing a very different side of Lee Young, and I'm curious. Last season he was very much the enforcer. He was sort of quieter. I mean, aside from when he fought, obviously. And this season, we're seeing so much more of an emotional dynamic and him being his own person and, wanting to have power for honor's sake and all of these things. And I'm wondering how much of that did you know was going to come before you started season one? Or was that sort of like later that you found out?
Again, I'm gonna tell you a bit of story that Lee Young's supposed to die in first season,
No!
No.
That would have been terrible.
and then because I signed only one season, I remember that Justin and Jonathan wanted me to be in the show, and I said like, yeah, sure, I want to work with you guys. And then, but this character's probably is gonna die at in the end of season one, and then, but who knows if you really like the show and then you want to be in it for another season, and then let's see how it goes. So we're shooting season one, and then half of the season one I said like, oh, I love the show, I love these guys, and I love you guys, and I love the writings, I love the show, and then, and if you guys have more for this character, I'm up, I'm in for sure. And then, oh yeah, really, and then they kind of like change the story a little bit, and then make Leon survive in season one, and then we have season two. And season two, of course, Jonathan told me that we're gonna explore more you about Leon's, not just physical stuff. We're gonna explore more about his relationship with Mylene, and then more dramatic for sure. And then I said, like, I love that. Let's do that. So I didn't see it coming until I got the script, and then I saw it. And then during the reading, I was like, oh, this is good. This is kind of like a character I really want to play, because as people know me, a guy who do badass, kick-ass stuff, and then, of course, as an actor, I want to do something else. I want to have a character that has more background, more layer, rather than just physical stuff. And then, thanks to Jonathan and Justin and all the writers, they made it happen. So I'm happy with it. So yeah, here I am.
Thankfully.
That would have been so awful. It was bad enough when Rich Ting died. Oh. Oh,
But I don't know
man.
if that's supposed to be a secret, but I think it's cool. So we have season two, right?
We're
Jonathan,
good.
sorry.
No, I think that will
But
make
that's a good
everyone
story,
love
though.
him even more that he let you
Yeah,
live.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Kelsey said, we have gotten to see so much more of Liang and all of the characters, so much more of their emotional lives. And, episode 5 for Liang. Oh man, what an episode. Right from the start. When Kelsey and I were just talking about this before you came on, the first scene when you and Mylene are sort of squaring off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to get a little nervous that, Mylene is so set on and determined to create her own way that maybe Liang isn't safe. Should we keep being nervous?
Well, you've seen the whole episode, like the whole season one, and then I think I mean, the relationship between Leon and Melanie is pretty unique. It's like in season two, we see like he kind of like doubting Mylene, but at the same time, we see so much love in it. It's not a doubt; it's actually a care that wherever she goes, he knows that he's gonna be with her. But at the same time, he knows he needs to protect her, and if that needs to for him to be to confront her, and he'll do it. So that kind of relation that for me it's beautiful, because love is not always follow. Sometimes you have to, you have to hold. Sometimes you have to press the brake, and not just following the ride wherever it goes. So I think that's kind of like for me as an actor to really go to really dig the characters. That what's the motivation? Like how much I love her. Would I die for her? Would I die for her? It's easy, but would I confront her and make her feel bad to protect her? That's probably something that is pretty hard to do than to show it on screen. And I
Mhm.
hope you guys dig that.
Oh yeah, your scenes this season have been amazing. And we were talking about that. It's like he keeps trying to get her to see the big picture and the long game, and she's just not really getting it. And so I just worry that maybe she'll get a little sick of being reminded that there are reasons that we need to do things in certain ways. But
Now I'm nervous too. Because that could happen though. I mean, in this relationship, in this show, everything, like the possibility of another things happen is always
Mhm.
possible. You can see it, but I hope the writers they want to continue the journey of these two characters.
Mhm.
So I hope they don't go that bad direction.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the, you have that relationship, but the other one I think that is so interesting is Leung and Assam, because last season it was very much you were the foil to him. It was good guy who's maybe not all that good, but he's sort of the good guy, and then like the enforcer for the bad guy or whatever. And this season that has very much shifted, where you see Sam is has sort of the anti-hero. He's power for power's sake and revenge. And then you have Liang, who is trying to be honorable, who is upset about the things like with the laundromat, and Myling, instead of giving a loan, sort of taking over this business and things. And these opposing characters, and we've obviously seen you fight Andrew Koji. And so I think the most important question on this whole podcast now is Sub-Zero or Shadowstorm? Who wins? I mean, you got Mortal Kombat GI Joe. I mean, come on.
Well, I gotta say, Sub Zero supposed to be win. But I know Andrew Koji is not gonna like it. But who knows? We're crossing the universe, right? Crossing the
Yeah.
universe, and they get to fight each other in a bigger
Yeah.
universe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
little
knows?
crossover
But
action.
yeah, I'm happy for Koji. I think G.I. Joe is gonna be amazing, and he plays a really significant character in it. And then, but you can't beat Sub Zero. Come on.
I mean, it's pretty awesome.
He's gonna ice you up
Yeah.
or ice you down. It's supposed to be
Down,
ice you
yeah.
I see
Like
down. Yeah.
minus.
Yeah. That's funny. So I guess with you have sort of these two very significant relationships, and I'm curious how you sit down. I mean, is that something that you and Andrew sit down, or you and Diane sit down and go through and figure out together, or is it more just like, this is what my character does and this is what their character does and we all do this together? Just like, what is your way of forming these two sort of
I
significant?
think my relationship with Koji on screen, we don't really dig into each other
Mm,
in terms of, because my motivation is always loyal to Long Z
mm,
and follows the love of my life wherever she goes. But at the same time, you see, when I dig this character as an Asian, that family is something, for Leong, family is something precious or something like always on top of everything. So that's why in season one, when we watched the last episode, during the fight and before the fight, he questioned Mylene to make sure that family is everything. Are you sure? Because only one of us, gonna get out there alive, and then he's your brother. And before he's about to break his neck in season one, he looked at Mylene
mm,
and say, "This is wrong." That look, when I deliver that look, is actually, I'm telling her, "This is wrong. Are you sure you want to do it? This is wrong." And then she nod and it's like, "Do that." And then you see like half second of his face, like, "I don't want to do this,
yeah.
but you made me do this, and I don't want to do it." So we see a Kiliang's character. He's vicious to his enemies. He's just no mercy to his enemies. But when we another layer, he's a family man. we can tell his background. I hope someday they tell a story about his background in season 3 or whatever, like standalone episode. I hope so. That he has really he prioritizes family, strong value of family. That's really high for him. In season 2, we see a relationship between me, Myling, me, Myling, and Assam. Of course, when you see him in the temple in a couple episodes before, he kind of like he's friendly. He's like
Mhm.
his two siblings talking private conversation. I respect that. I look at him, but there's no personal energy, personal vibe that I hate Assam or I want to kill him, whatever.
Mhm.
I respect him as a great fighter. I respect him as a brother of my Ling, and then I really hope they can just figure out whatever the problem they have. So that's probably from Leon perspective, and then going to that destined going to that in terms of performance, me and Myling, we talk about it a lot. So I know we had dinner, we talk about our characters, and I told her that this is that I believe what my character is, and try to cross to synchronize with what she believes of Myling. That we try to figure out the dynamic and the beautiful relationship that's quite
Mm.
complicated. And then for me and Assam, because I don't really interact with them in terms of drama a lot in the show, we talked about the fight a lot. The final fight in season 1, we discussed it a lot, and we trained by ourselves, even in a weekend for that fight. So we want to deliver a good fight that memorable to our fans. But in terms of character, because on screen I don't really interact with them, we still not there yet. I hope
Right.
someday we go to that direction, that we in terms of character we clash, that we have more personal layers. But I don't talk about it to him because on screen we don't interact that much. So it just good to have this world outside off screen that's similar to what's going to happen on screen. I believe that as an actor, because it's just easier to portray, to convey. So I hope so. I hope that we, hang out to one standalone episode, me and Assam going to the
Uh-huh.
west or going to another city
Yeah.
fighting bad
Yeah.
guys. That would be awesome.
Yep.
You get next
Yeah.
season episode 6.
Yeah.
Let's all leave and go shoot a one.
Young Jun needs to relax, with his
Yeah. Yeah.
father, and then me and Assam going somewhere
Going somewhere.
to
Yeah.
just kill bad guys. That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Perfect.
Unbeatable. We both, if we combine our
Oh
powers,
my
we're
God.
unbeatable.
There goes the whole show though, because there's like no drama. Nobody can beat them.
Yeah.
So, speaking of big fights, you had a huge fight with Zing. I mean, that whole end of the episode was just mind-blowingly great fighting
Thank
going
you.
on everywhere. And then, while Big Bill and his guys are down shooting everyone and, busting it up that way, you're upstairs having an amazing fight with Dustin Gwen, with Zing. And we would just love to hear more about how that was choreographed and, how you guys came up with that, the different fighting styles between the two of you. And then, Leong makes a decision at the end of that fight when Bill comes up.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know, there are many ways that you can interpret what Leong does. And I'm wondering how you interpret what Leong decides to do to Bill.
When Bill show up,
Yeah.
I think in that couple seconds before he left, he gave Bill that look, because if me and Chow, we planned this, and then you're involved. It means Chow brought you in this raid, so you're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to know that I'm helping Chow and helping you. That's my character's thinking. That's why when after Bill show up, and then he split the fight, and Leon look at Bill, and then he was kind of like, "Oh, you're my guy."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Bill like he
Yeah.
shot at Leon, and his face like, "What?" Are you gonna cross me after I help you too, you motherfucker? So that look, he looked at Bill and like, I don't believe this guy. This cop, okay. So he's before he ran away.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I
But
understand
like
that I
not just
delivered.
ran away, like flipped out the window, like
Yeah,
so
with
acrobatic.
style.
Yes,
I
he
ran
ran away
away
with
with
style.
style. I gotta do it. He's Leon. He cannot just run like this.
No.
I think yeah, the choreography. And Brad Chan and his team did an amazing job with that fight, and we worked so hard for it. I trained with Dustin a lot because I believe in a fight scene. What in my experience is impossible to fight someone, especially a long fight, that you don't vibe to each other. You have to be best friend first, and you have to have high trust to each other, very deep, because it's physical. I could hit him, he could hit me. So in order to have that, what I call it, intimate fight, that we trust each other, almost hit each other, almost hurt each other, almost injure each other. So that needs a really strong bond. So me and Dustin, we hang out a lot. He went to my apartment. We cook, and then that's the way. It's not because of the role. It's not because of the scene, but I'm a big fan of him. I grew up watching when I was a kid, 21 Jump Street, and then look at him on screen. That actually the point of my life. I believe that there's someone look like me in the US TV show. That means that this is possible. That he is the reason for me when I was a kid.
Wow. That's so
That
cool.
this is possible.
And then you beat him up. Jeez.
So I was super nervous, to be honest. I was super nervous because I'm a huge fan of him, and he's kind of like inspiration to young Asian like my age when we were kids. So I was super nervous and I was so careful. And but when the action shouted, you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta me. I have to forget about me, who idolize him so much. I have to be the character, and I have to do whatever I gotta do, and he did the same. So it's beautiful fight. It's beautiful fight. And then Dustin's very particular. He's a great actor, great martial artist. That he questioned everything, all the movements. He wants to know what's the reason, what's the purpose, and what's going to happen after this, after that. I love that because it means he cares so much about the fight. And then me, Brett Chan, and Dustin, we spent so much time just to talk about the fight before we practice. So I think there's something beautiful that the fight, went so beautifully that I believe that's probably one of the best fight in the show. I hope so.
I agree.
So because the drama inside the fight is clear. Because I want to know that we discuss about this part to this part, what happened, what we're feeling. This part to this part, do I feel confident I can beat him? And this part and this part, do I actually underestimate him? So that drama needs to be clear before, because some people think action is action. Some people think action is just people beating each other and it look flashy. But what I believe as an actor, it's more than that, because you don't have lines in it, but you got to tell the story still.
Right.
You got to tell. There's a lot of story inside the fight. There's a struggle. There's a belief. There's probably a dramatic performance that this guy probably is gonna die. He knew it in the fight.
Yeah.
So those information needs to be understood first before we shoot the fight. So we did that, and then I had so much time shooting it, and then I saw it, and I'm so happy. And Brad kept asking me, do you like the fight? Do you like what are you talking about? I love the fight. So I'm like, this is a beautiful fight, of course, but I'm not gonna say it like too many times because it's obvious it's me in it. It's just not cool. Hey, I love the fight because I'm in it.
Best
That's
fight
right.
of the
Why
whole
we like
series.
it.
I gotta
Me
be
right
cool,
here.
Brad. I gotta be a little bit elegant.
No, but it
I'm
is a
so-
phenomenal fight.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad you said
Thank
that
you,
about
Brad.
that the movements need to have purpose, because we as an audience can tell when they're just
Thank
fighting
you.
to fight. You know, it's as important as the dialogue, and the movement outside of the fight. And if it's not there, if there isn't that motivation behind it, then it's dead on
It's just
screen.
yeah.
It's a waste of time. And I think I'm going to work this in, Kels. That's why we love the raid so much.
That's
We're
true.
huge fans of the raid.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's
Man,
crazy.
God, we love that film. And that's part of the reason is everything matters. Everything that happens in there. And every part of every fight, of every bullet tells a story. And we get that with Warrior as well.
I'll tell the director that you guys love the raid so much. And probably you get to have a podcast with them. Who knows, right?
Oh my God. Don't even tease. That's not
There's a huge fan base for the raid.
I'm gonna talk highly about you guys, and then I'm gonna push him to do it.
Well, you're very kind. That would be amazing. I will tell you that last season of Strike Back, they actually did an episode that was an homage to the raid because the showrunner and director are such big fans of the movie as well. And actually, we had
on the podcast, we were like, "That was from the raid," and he's
yes,
like, "Yes, it was."
But we had sort of a running joke with them because Jack Lothian, who was the showrunner for Strike Back, listens to the podcast, and he listened to our Warrior podcast last year and realized that we might have a favorite actor or two from Warrior. And so in the preseason for Strike Back, he goes, and just watch, Kelsey, because maybe that guy from the raid will show up. And we were like, yeah, whatever. Haha, hilarious, I know. And then episode 8 comes around and it's Mad Dog. Yeah. And we were like, oh my God, it is that guy. It's just not that guy from the raid, So he was very proud of himself for making that joke,
Cool.
But so they are,
I saw it.
huge fans. But we like the raid. So
thank you very much, Kelsey.
But what you're saying about action, and I think that's one of the things that we try to sort of get across to people is that action can be really smart and really emotional. And I think people have this concept of they hear action and they think Michael Bay Transformers, and it's no, not that, not just it's there's so much more to it. And this show, God, this show is just is phenomenal. It really, you guys do such a good job.
So good, right?
Yeah, it's so good.
And we overuse this word, but it's important. What's happening in this story is important.
Yeah, it's very important, especially nowadays.
Yes,
exactly. And geez, I hope HBO figures that out.
They have to. Come on, HBO, somebody, anybody.
I know, right?
To this podcast, you got to make it happen.
Well, I really hope so, because it is. I mean, the language is so similar to what we hear nowadays, and it is. Yeah, it is. Like Deb said, it's important. But I want to go back to what you were talking about, the action and the choreography, really quick, because one of the things that we love about this show is how individual everybody fights. And we're curious if it is a case of they're casting someone for Leong and they need someone who, not being a martial arts perspective, or expert, but visually seems very grounded, moves a little more confidently, not so Assam is very quick and sort of jumpy and snappy, and whereas Leong seems much more grounded, solid base. If they're looking for, when they were casting, are they looking for someone who can fight like this as the character is written, or do they find you and then go, you're really good at this kind of fighting, let me incorporate that into the character, if that makes sense? Which came first, the chicken or the egg, the fight or the actor?
Both.
I don't know.
I think both. I think we figured out after I got cast. I think Justin, Jonathan, and everybody in the show, they believe that I can deliver. I can play this character because of they saw the raid, and then they saw my work before, and then they probably Joe, do you want this role? And then after I'm in, we had a lot of discussion about how he fights, about who is he, and what kind of background. So we agreed that Leon is a very mature martial artist. So when you're mature in terms of martial art, you get more toned down, you're calm, because this is not about, you understand the what do you call it, the wisdom of it. It's not the violence. Once you understand the wisdom of it, then you get more smooth, and your fighting becomes more purpose. You have more purpose for it. You don't waste your energy. You're effective. So that's Leon. And then in terms of martial arts, I believe he masters couple of disciplines that he combined. He's kind of like a shadowy Bruce Lee kind of thing. That he figured out the best style of himself by combining a lot of martial arts. That's why when you see how he fights in the first episode with Assam, he tried mimicking the way Assam moves. You can see that he's kind of like a genius martial arts, that I will follow whatever direction you want to go rather than against you and fight you in that pool. So that's kind of probably the wisdom. So I will see your style. When you see the Zing, when he fights Zing, the first couple of moves he was like reading how Zing move, and then he got hit a couple of times, and then see when he fixed his button.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
love
then
that
he
move.
that,
That was like, yeah.
so yeah, I think Leong is a martial arts expert. He's a kung fu master, that he doesn't try to beat the flow.
Okay.
He follows the flow and find the weakness. That's the thing that I understand of this character. So from the first episode of season one, the end episode of season one, every time he fights, he always see where it's gonna go first. So the fight with Zing in episode that's probably airing right now. So in a couple of movements, he got hit a couple of times because Zing distracted him, like built his emotion. He got angry, and then angry is bad.
Right.
When you fight somebody's really strong, angry is bad because you don't think logically. And then I think the part that he fixed his button, I think it's the part that I point that this is it. Okay, this is the flow you want to go. I'll go with you, and I will beat you in that flow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of product, the drama
Yeah.
that I gave in a fight. So you see confident, you see struggle, you see that he, almost close to the end of the fight, he kind of like underestimated him. He was like, okay, you're down now. What are you going to do? And then the story of that is actually a big mistake. When you underestimate someone because he's on the floor, you made a big mistake. That's why Li Zing slashed him a couple of times, and then got the chance to get the knife and slash him again, and almost put him in he almost fell.
Yeah.
So, but again, he improvised again. Okay, this is the dangerous flow that I'm in, and I have to beat you in this dangerous flow. So he swing to that side and kick the wood and go back there and recounter. So that's a beautiful fight. So many stories in it. If you watch it again and again, you see things that you missed. That's probably a good fight. It's not enough when you see it one time.
Right.
So that's what I understood. Yeah.
Yeah. Before he fixes his button, and does that sort of back roll sort of thing, when you're on the banister or the railing, there are a couple looks that Leon gives Zing when they're sort of tangled in that banister, and that to me right there was, you give him a couple looks like, oh okay, and then back, and I'm like, well, there's the moment when he decided, okay, this is how we're going to do things.
Yeah.
So yeah, those tiny little movements.
Just keep elevating.
Yeah.
Keep elevating and changing and improvising. It's all in one fight. So it's a good story.
Yeah. And then you have this scene, the quiet scene with Mai Ling, when she comes in and she starts helping you with your wounds, and you get angry with her. It's like the only time we've ever seen him sort of explode. Like, yeah. And so that's interesting that you say that about, you don't get angry, and yet, he blows up at her. She deserved it. She's not getting it. But yeah, tell us about that scene, because that was such a good scene. All the scenes with
So
her this episode were
it's
just
beautiful. Yeah, I
so
love that scene so much.
yeah.
I think that scene, probably everything is just
It's only been a year
what I
and a
call it.
half since you
Yeah,
filmed
I
it.
know.
You know,
I don't think people
just
realize
like
how long
just
ago
like
this was
yesterday,
filmed.
right?
Yeah.
Tell us what
Um,
you were feeling exactly in that scene that you filmed almost 2
2
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah.
okay, in that scene, he was injured, and then Myling went in and then found out. So she was kind of like, what happened, right? And then Leon, he didn't really want to tell her
Right.
everything, so he just gave her the look,
Mm.
which he knows that she's gonna because is Chow put you into this, and then he
Mhm.
didn't answer. That's my
Mhm.
choice of performance, that I have to look her in the eye. You know I will do this for you.
Mm.
So that's probably not spoken delivery. So when he said like, "Did Chow put you in this into this?" and then he was injured, and he looked her in the eye and like, "Guess who?" And then that's probably the moment that she found out, and then the moment Leon just explode, because everything just piled up from the very beginning, that he's asking to come with me, but she knew she knew that that's not my style. Why would you do that? Why would you do things that's gonna irritate me every time? Are you doubting me? Are you forcing me to doubt you? That's probably what's going on. So that's probably the point, the peak of it, and he just couldn't stand it. But if you watched clearly, after he raised his voice, he toned down again,
Mhm.
because then as a mature martial artist that realize this is, you don't let your emotion take over everything, right? So he raised his voice, and then he realized, like half second, he realized that, I shouldn't do that. And then he toned down again, tried to control everything,
Yeah.
and then tried to talk to her, try to make her understand, which she doesn't really understand.
She did go talk to it to Assam, so maybe a
Well,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, she got it. She got it. She
Yeah.
A
got
little
it.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's a beautiful scene, because I think that's the probably most important moment. That people know this dynamic of these two characters.
Mhm.
This Leong is a kind of person that, it's not just following her around, but at the same time, he is actually, the what do you call it, the wind beneath her wings. That if she needs to fall,
Cute.
he's gonna race her whatever it takes, even if he has to break her wing, then he could. So yeah, that's beautiful scene.
That's wonderful. Well, I know that you have another phone call and you need to get going. We
Well,
appreciate all the time.
is it 40 minutes already? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Aren't we lovely? No, I'm kidding.
I thought it was like 10 minutes so
Yeah.
far already.
It goes
Aw.
fast.
Kidding
Well,
me?
I hope you will come back and chat.
I
And
will.
yeah, we really appreciate you spending all this time. Is there anything you'd like to tease for the last half of the season for everybody, or just
I think
watch?
last half of the season is gonna get more interesting for sure, and then you're gonna see a lot of surprises.
Yeah.
And then the biggest surprise that we are waiting for, everybody's waiting for, that somebody's gonna pick up season 3.
Yes.
So that's probably the surprise that everybody's waiting.
Yeah.
Like me, especially everybody,
Yes.
like the whole
Yeah.
cast. We just love to, our relationship, and then it's such a great family. And then I know I have this group, me, Brad, Koji, and Dean. We always like, you heard anything? You heard anything? So we it's not, for me. It's not just a job.
Right.
I love the team so much, and then I love Cape Town. I love the show. That this is the story of my life. If it's a job, you get in, you get out, take the money. That's it, right? And a lot of people do that. But some jobs, they're just personal.
Yeah.
That you became family, and then you just want to be there for, as long as you can. So this is the show that everybody feeling the same. So I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Thanks, and tune in next week for another Need to Know session at the Crib. Follow us on Twitter @StrikebackCrib. Out.